Last year, my daughter was away to college and she goes to school 10 hours away. And they had family weekend in the fall. Parents were flying in, driving in, showing up for the big football game for family weekend. She told me that I was the only one out of her friend group that parents didn't show up. And certainly not because I didn't want to, definitely not because she didn't want me there, and not because it wasn't important to me, but because I had to work. I couldn't just decide to leave. I couldn't just get in the car and just go at any time. And that was something that I've been thinking about a lot, because the older that I get, the less interested I am in having more stuff, and the more interested I am in having more options, more freedom, more flexibility, more control over my time and my income. That's exactly why people, women specifically over 50, are starting online businesses. Today, what I want to do is share the 5 biggest reasons why this is happening. If you're a woman over 50, just like me, who's been wondering if there's another path besides working their job longer into their 60s or 70s and hoping everything works out, then this video is for you. Reason number 1, just like I mentioned before, people want more options. And this isn't just about getting rich. At least for a lot of the people that I talk to, it's simply about having options. The freedom to visit your kids, the freedom to help your aging parents, the freedom to just get up and take a vacation, the freedom to be able to handle an emergency without panicking and without hesitation, and the freedom to be able to make decisions based on what matters most instead of what your schedule allows. And for years, I wanted more money to take the vacations. But as I get older, what I eventually realized is what I really wanted was simply more options. This is one of the biggest reasons why people, women specifically over 50, are exploring online businesses. Reason number 2 is really going to hit home for a lot of you. One paycheck simply doesn't feel secure anymore. I think that many women have started questioning something that isn't really talked about, and that is one paycheck really security? Because with me personally, in the last 10 years alone, I've been laid off twice. And if you've ever been laid off, you know something changes inside of you, especially if you're in your 50s and get laid off. Because you quickly realize how much of your future depends on decisions you cannot control. The company changes direction, leadership changes, the economy changes, and suddenly the paycheck that you've spent 30 years building feels so uncertain. More women are starting to realize that security doesn't come from one paycheck. Security comes from having options. And building an online business is one way to create another option. Can we talk about ageism in the workplace for a second? It exists. I've had people comment on this channel. They've told me it exists. So if you've experienced ageism in the workplace, let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your story. Reason number 3 is because retirement isn't looking like what we expected. Many women over 50, including you, did everything right. We worked hard, we saved money, we stayed loyal to our companies, we built careers. Yet, why does our retirement feel so uncertain? Costs are higher, the world is changing, and don't even get me started with medical insurance as we get older, and how much money that costs if you don't have a company that's going to supply it for you in your retirement. That's one of the reasons why so many people can't retire right now, simply because of medical expenses. And a lot of women are realizing they may need additional income beyond a traditional savings, retirement savings. And what I love about an online business is this is something, it doesn't have to replace a job right away. It can simply be just another asset, another stream of income, another source of opportunity, and that can make a huge difference over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And here's the thing, I'm not saying quit your job today and start an online business. In fact, I recommend do not do that unless you have a pile of money saved up in the background. But what I am saying is if you want to protect your income, and maybe you don't have the retirement that you should at your age, like myself, because of getting laid off a few times, then why not build something in your spare time that could possibly save you another 20 years of working a job. Because if you're anything like me, I don't want to work in my 60s or 70s. A traditional job. I'll probably always do something. I'll probably always be on YouTube, right? And always build a business, because that's just how I am. I enjoy working, but I want to have that control. Reason number 4 is they have valuable experience. One of the biggest myths that I used to believe that I was starting over. But women over 50 aren't starting from zero. We're starting from experience. We've spent decades learning things, managing projects, leading people, communicating, solving problems, helping customers, teaching others, building relationship. So this isn't what can I do? The question becomes, how can I use what I already know to create value for other people? That's why people over 50 are actually in a very strong position to build an online business. You just need to learn how to implement it. Because I can promise you, if you've ever started a job, which I know you have, at first it's awkward. You don't know anything. But after someone mentors you, after you learn a few skills, you start to master your job. And pretty soon you can do your job without even thinking about it. Building a business is no different. So if you've ever started a job on day 1 and you've succeeded, you can succeed building your own business. Reason number 5, and this is my favorite, you simply want the freedom to say yes. I want to say yes more often. Yes to spending time with my family. Yes to traveling so I can see my kids more. Yes to helping the people that I love. And not being trapped, because we've been trapped for the last 30 years. In our 50s, it's time for us to not feel trapped anymore. Because here's the thing, a lot of people, when they hear the term online business, they think that the ultimate goal is money. And obviously, yes, money is a part of it. But for me personally, the money is creating the goal, which has always been having freedom and having those options. The money is simply one of the tools that creates it. If we haven't met yet, my name is Kim, and on this channel I'm documenting my journey of building an online business after 50 so I can create more freedom, more options, and more control over my future. Not because I think it's easy and not because I'm trying to be, a gazillionaire, but because I personally believe women deserve more options than a single paycheck. If you're a woman over 50 that wants more freedom, more flexibility, and more control over the next chapter of your life, you are exactly who I'm creating these videos for. One of the biggest things that I've learned is that freedom doesn't happen by accident. It comes from learning new skills, building assets, creating additional opportunities, and taking action before it feels ready. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's what I'll continue sharing on this channel. If you are interested in learning more about the business model I'm using and the skills that I'm learning, I have a free resource. It's called the Freedom Formula Blueprint. And inside it, you're going to walk through the exact online business model that helped me to understand how people are building an income beyond just a paycheck, while creating more freedom and flexibility in their lives. Here's the thing that I want to clarify. You're going to learn skills on how to make an additional income stream while working a full-time job. So for me personally, my best day, working simply 2 hours a day. And again, the 2 hours don't have to be a block of time. Some days I work before I start my job, some days after. You create the schedule that makes sense for you. My best day, I earned $1,400 in a single day, which I think is pretty cool. My best month was $4,200 while working a full-time job. If you want to learn the skills on how to do that too without it consuming all of your free time, click on the link in the description below. And I truly believe that many women over 50 are entering the most exciting seasons of their lives. Not because it's easy and not because the challenges disappear, because if you ask me, they get more difficult. Because if you have kids, you want to help them pay for college. And then you have aging parents. Again, you're getting pulled in 1,000 different directions. But for me personally, I had to get out of that bubble thinking that having a job was the only way that you can make money. And I discovered that we have choices. And just because we're new at something doesn't mean that you can't master it, just like you did on your first day at your job. And that's exactly what this channel is about. Creating more freedom, more options, more control in the event that you get let go from your job and you cannot find another one. Because let's face it, ageism exists in the workplace. I've experienced it. My husband's experienced it. My biggest fear is getting let go a third time and not being able to get another job. Making, obviously, what I'm used to making, which is why I'm doing this. To protect myself, to protect my retirement, to protect my family. So if this sounds something like you're working towards too, definitely subscribe. Join me on this journey. Click on the link in the description below. And which of these 5 reasons resonates with you the most? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your story, and I'll see you in the next video.